broadcast network, Afterbuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. Afterbuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, Afterbuzzers.
Tuning into the online broadcast.
Hi, guys. Welcome to
magic.
Yeah, it's magic. We have a very magical guest here with us. Welcome to an all-new Shadowhunters after show at Afterbuzz TV. I'm your host, Sam Davidson. If you guys haven't done so already, please go on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud. Rate, review, subscribe. You guys are so awesome with giving us your feedback and tweeting, so please keep it coming. As you can see next to me, we have the beautiful Katherine MacNamara here with us today.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course. You are a social media queen, so I'm sure everyone knows, but where can everyone find you on Twitter?
Kat_MacNamara on Twitter.
Awesome. And of course, I have two amazing co-hosts here with me today. Where can we find y'all on Twitter?
You can find me at Becca B Talks TV.
Hi guys, I'm Dakota T. Jones. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Mr. Dakota T. Jones.
And of course, you guys can find me, Sam Davidson, at SamD43 on Twitter and Instagram, and AfterBuzz TV at AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms. Keep on using that hashtag ABTV Shadowhunters. So today we are talking about Season 1, Episode 6 of Men and Angels.
Yes.
Yes.
Like the title.
What a
I
title.
loved it. It was
It is.
a great episode. And as we all know, we had Dominic Sherwood in last week. We had so many fan questions that we didn't get a chance to ask. So we're going to try to, we'll go over every scene. But some of them that weren't as important, we'll just go through it so we can ask your fan questions.
Yes.
We want to get to as many as possible.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you guys have been so awesome to send them
Love
in.
you guys.
Yeah, amazing social media following, and Kat here is amazing. I love you.
Thank
She's
you.
the best.
I love you too, babe.
Aww. All right, so we start off where the episode left off.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's very cool. Every episode seems to do that. We miss no time.
We do that for most of the season because just so many events keep rolling consecutively throughout the season and throughout the show. It's just easier to pick right up where you left off so the audience doesn't miss anything. And then that leaves us able to not do scenes of exposition as often because we like action, not exposition on our show.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love cliffhangers.
Oh,
Yeah.
At the end of episodes.
Well, it's nice. Well, it was funny while we were shooting because they wouldn't give us all of the episodes, so they'd give us a script or two at a time, and then whenever there was a cliffhanger, we'd all go, "What's
What's gonna happen to us?"
What's going on?
Please tell us what's next.
Please tell us what's happening." And of course, Ed Decter, our showrunner, and the other writers would just go,
I don't know.
"I don't know.
Yeah.
We're still writing."
That's crazy that happens to
Amazing.
you guys too, because I know for us
Yeah.
fans, we're always waiting for the next episode. We're like, what's gonna happen? And it's funny, I didn't realize that you guys have to go through the same thing.
Oh yeah. It's like getting your report card at school. Everybody's like, "What did you get? What did you see? Have you read the script yet? What are you
Yes.
doing?" It depends on who's working that day, who reads it first, and then we get the download from whoever's read it the first.
I have an
great.
interesting question that I kind of have been thinking about. So
Okay.
at this point, we're at episode 6.
Yeah.
How much time do you think has passed between when we started and now?
Well, that's interesting because we talked a lot about this while we were shooting because we kind of had to know for the scope of where we were mentally. And the course of the entire first season happens over about 2 weeks, we think.
Wow.
So it's very fast. It's very condensed. So a lot happens. But maybe by this point, I'd say it's been maybe 4 or 5 days, maybe a
Yeah.
week, but not that long.
Wow, that
lot
makes
has
my life
happened in
seem
those few
really
days.
boring.
That's what we all said. We're like, geez, it's taking us 6 months to film 2 weeks. What are we doing with our life?
That's so crazy.
But so much happens, and it all happens so quickly, and it's such a time-sensitive issue. But it makes sense for the heightened stakes of the show to have it take place in such a short amount of time.
Absolutely. And this episode, we really get to see the stakes are super high because
Yeah.
Luke is knocking on death's door.
Luke is dying.
Yeah, and
So scary.
it's very scary
Yeah.
and upsetting, but I loved the way they did it with the werewolf random transition and all of that. And Magnus is awesome.
I love
Oh,
Harry.
yes.
Harry's a boss.
he seems like a ball of energy.
He
He's
is.
just so funny.
He's so great, and he's so intelligent, and he takes a lot of care with Magnus, and utilizes every talent that he has to make him really special.
Yes, he plays that character very well. So,
And he
Very
was very
interesting.
involved with not only the character aspect, but the physical attributes of his character, from the hair to the makeup to the wardrobe. He was very integral in designing all of that.
Oh,
so
wow.
that
That's
just shows the
very
level of care he put
interesting.
into it. Yeah.
That's really cool.
I like when actors do that when they're playing their characters.
All of us
It's
did,
great.
but Harry's look is so iconic.
Yeah,
and it's
it's so different.
iconic from the books as well, that he really wanted to make sure it was right, not only right, but also realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
think so.
I think the whole beginning scene, and just with everything with Luke being saved, even though he is a werewolf and it's all fantasy, but it seemed very real to me.
Good. That was our goal.
Yes.
I'm glad it came across.
Oh, it's
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But what I was interested in most, Magnus, he has a past, obviously, with Jocelyn and Clary's mother, but why is he being so nice?
See, that's part of the mystery of Magnus, is he's sort of the ambiguous character that you never really know where his loyalties lie, you never really know what he's thinking, because he is so old. He's hundreds of years old, so he has wisdom beyond any of the other characters and an understanding beyond any of the other characters. That's a tool, but it's not one that he shares all the time. And he has his own insecurities that he deals with throughout the season as well, that he has to sort of battle, because he might be immortal, but that comes with its own pros and cons as well.
That's crazy to think. I mean, it's so funny to think, oh my gosh, he's like hundreds of years old. It's so weird. It's like, obviously.
you forget it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Easily.
Well, it's like some of the vampires. You know,
Yeah.
Camille is hundreds of years old as well.
I feel like I forget that when like supernatural characters are that old. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Because they stop
that
aging.
are supposed
Yeah.
to
So
be-
they still look.
I don't know about
They
you guys, but
supposed
if
to be
I
that
found out
old.
someone was that old and
And
they
they
still
looked-
looked great,
and they looked
I would be
young.
too weirded out. I'd be like,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at Alec.
Yeah, I know. It's like he's all right with it, I guess.
He's okay
but,
with it.
Man.
He's wise beyond his years.
Yeah.
Maybe not that wise, but wise
He
enough.
really is, and Alec's character, we got a lot more this episode.
Yeah.
It keeps on building, which is amazing. But speaking about vampires,
Yes.
right at the beginning, everyone comes in and they're bloody because they've been carrying Luke.
Yeah,
Oof.
that was fun.
Yeah.
And Simon is just like kind of like licking his hand,
Like a little cat.
He's like, this is normal.
Yeah.
and people are kind of starting to pick up on what's maybe happening.
Oh, are they now?
I hope
think
so.
Yeah.
Little.
There's been some really big hints.
Well, I am not at liberty to say anything.
Yeah.
But let me put it this way. Up until this point in the season, we've been making a lot of decisions, taking a lot of actions, and not really thinking about the consequences. And from episode 7 on, the consequences start coming to fruition and start crashing down, and we have to really start facing the results of the decisions that we've made up until this point. And that goes for Simon as well.
One of my questions for you with Simon is let's assume when you find out that he is a vampire,
Yeah.
are you gonna be like, ew, gross, pissed, or is Clary gonna feel guilt? I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing. Clary drug him into this world with her, and so ultimately he is her responsibility, especially now that she's becoming a Shadowhunter, and their whole purpose in the world is to protect mundanes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she may or may not have failed in that task.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it turns out. But let me put it this way: in the Shadow world, nothing is as simple as it seems.
Yeah. Dominic was telling us last week, he's like, Kat's character really is running lives. Like, just
Yeah.
no offense to you.
But see, no, that's the thing with Clary, is because, yes, she is this strong, independent young woman, but in the first 2 episodes, you really see her reduced to nothing. And
Yeah.
everything she thought that she was is kind of gone. So she's very ill-equipped to deal with this world. But it's important to see, and, through that, she's forced into situations, and she's forced to make decisions that she doesn't understand or doesn't think about the consequences. It's all
Yeah.
well-intentioned,
Yeah.
but she just doesn't have the skills yet. And that's kind of part of her journey is, everybody wants to see Clary be that badass and be that heroine that everybody loves, and everybody who's read the books, everybody knows how amazing she ends up
Right.
in books 5 and 6 and the strength that she has and all of that. But in order for that to pay off, you have to see her reduced to nothing,
Yeah.
and you have to see her at her weakest moments in order for her stronger moments to really be satisfying.
Yeah, realistically, no one's gonna get thrown
Yeah.
into this world and be like, oh yeah, I'm
Be like,
ready.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is great, let's go.
But I am very surprised at your character, because it, like, from the first, I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd episode, you were like already jumping in. You're like, all right, we're gonna do this, and like you were calling the shots and everything.
Determination.
And I was like, man, if I was put in that situation, it would be super hard to just like take control like that. But I mean, if your mom is missing, obviously that would bring out the...
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but she has Shadowhunter blood in her veins. She's got the instinct. She has the skills. They just have to be awakened within her. And that's sort of where Jace comes in. And that's part of why the Jace, Clary, Simon love triangle is so tragic. Because she really can't choose. They're each a part, a different part of herself, you know? Which is why she hasn't really confronted that choice yet.
Yeah. Speaking of that, there is someone who a lot of people who want to know whether you ship Clace or Simon.
I have chosen, because I keep getting asked this question, I have chosen to remain Switzerland in this. Simply because I adore Dom and Alberto and the characters, and really I don't think Clary can go wrong. Honestly, with either of her choices, she's got a good couple choices here.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to the fact that, you know, she really has to decide who she wants to be and where she wants to be and what she really needs. Both of these guys will be a part of her life no matter what. She just has to figure out in what capacity.
Yeah, friend, boyfriend.
Well answered,
Boyfriend, you know.
Or Simon is just
what kind of relationship they'll end up having.
He is, and speaking of those two, Simon and Jace have some time
Tension.
together.
Yeah.
A lot of tension.
I liked that.
It's kind of
so
the same
much.
tension that Alec and Clary had in episode 5 sort of transfers to Simon and Jace in episode 6. Everybody's beginning to be forced to confront these situations that are uncomfortable, but as audience members, it's fun to watch.
I loved those scenes. That was one of my favorite parts. So.
Yeah. They had a lot of fun with that. I remember being
sure.
on set those days when they were shooting, and they were deep in work trying to find the nuance of the scene, and that's true of a lot of the relationships on the show. We've all taken a lot of care. The same is true with Matt and Harry, and all of us really take a lot of care to dive in and make these relationships something more than what they are on the page, even though on the page they're incredible already to begin with.
I feel like you can tell how hard you work on that. It's done really well.
Thank you. We all have poured our heart and soul into this show, and hopefully it's something that people are enjoying.
It's very obvious that it is, for sure.
Based on the social media
Yes,
reaction.
I know we are, for sure.
And the chat.
Oh, thank you.
Well, let's talk about some of the things that Jace says to Simon. I mean, he's nasty. He's straight up mean. And we saw last episode, Alec was a little, you could see in his eyes that he thought something weird was going on with Simon. I love that kind of one by one these characters are like, wait, what is wrong with you?
Yes.
And yet Clary still has no idea.
Normal.
She's like, jumps over a wall, climbs up a thing, runs really fast.
You're like, wow. Parkour? Yeah.
She's like, have you been doing CrossFit?
Are you working out while I'm busy fighting demons?
Yes,
Working out.
Because you look kind of buff, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's really funny because when we had Dom in last week, he said that Alec's love for him kind of goes over his head, his romantic love.
Yeah.
And for Clary, it's very similar, I think, with Simon.
It really is. It's funny how many parallels there are of the different relationships in this story, and that's something I had to decide very early on, because Simon and Clary's relationship is so close. It's like, does she know that he's in love with him, and is she just ignoring it, or is she completely oblivious? And I talked a lot to McG, who directed the first episode and is one of our executive producers, and Ed Decter, who's our showrunner and kind of the helm of our ship, and we decided that the best option was that she may in some part of her subconscious know, but she's doing everything in her power to not destroy that friendship because she cares so much about Simon and she loves him so much, but not in that way. And so she doesn't want to lose him or hurt him in any way. And
it's real life that the characters are completely kind of oblivious to everyone being in love.
Well, that's what's so great, and that's what draws so many people to this story, is that yes, we have vampires and werewolves and warlocks and demons and angels and shadowhunters and all of these things, but ultimately at their core these characters are young, and they're growing up, and they're falling in love for the first time, and they're figuring out who they are and who they love and what that means for them in their other relationships, and that's what makes the show so relatable, are those people at their at their core.
All the while fighting demons.
Creatures, beings.
That's right.
Entities.
Well,
everyone?
We get to see Jace get he goes to fight this demon or get something from him, right, to put in the potion that Luke needs to save him. Yeah. And that was an interesting scene. I wasn't exactly sure what that thing was.
That's a new kind of demon.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's called a Shax demon. You'll see a lot more of those as the season goes on. Those are the scariest to me because they're very. You didn't really get to see it in this episode, but they're spider-like almost.
Yeah, I was like,
And they
"Ah."
make this noise when they run that's very. It sounds like little metal talons scraping against like
No.
Just creeps
Nope,
me
can't.
out.
Just
Spiders and then like scraping
Yeah, I'm
of
already
someone
yeah,
up.
yeah,
and-
it's
Spiders and cockroaches. That's just like
It's like
escalated.
Edward Scissorhands spider
Oh.
demon type. I don't know. It's terrifying. I don't know how they come up with this stuff.
It kind of
but
looked like
I'm
a
scared.
spider combined with an octopus.
Yeah.
Or
Basically.
cockroach.
Or
Yeah.
a cockroach or
Yeah.
something.
All the above.
Something equally
It's a
terrifying and
hybrid.
slimy. Yeah.
Before we move on to the next scene, I'm a big vampire fan as it is, so I'm just so fascinated with what Simon's going through. But when Jace leaves him outside to, go deal with what he has to inside, Simon
Yes.
sees Camille, and then he sees his dead
Himself.
body.
Yeah.
That was weird. Like,
Yeah.
that was crazy. I was wondering, okay, did Camille
And, like,
shape shift
Jump to
into
commercial.
Simon and like lay down to like create the effect, or was he just like mentally going crazy? But like obviously Camille has something that she can do to like
Yeah.
project his body there. But it was so weird. I was like, oh, this is creepy.
I mean, Camille clearly has a hold over him.
yeah.
Oh yeah, he keeps seeing her
And
everywhere.
he keeps getting
Everywhere.
drawn to her. Like you can see, like instead of being like, oh my gosh, like Camille, he was like running towards her, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like,
Yeah.
I get that they had like a moment, but I mean, it was kind of like a drugged moment
It
because
was a creepy moment.
like it was very creepy. But yeah,
He always
this,
seems
this
very
girl has a
excited
hold on him
to
for sure.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, Caitlin Lieb, who plays Camille, is one of the sweetest, most genuine human beings I've ever met in my life, and yet she plays this vile,
Yes.
horrible, conniving vampire, and I think it's the greatest thing.
Acting everyone.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly,
acting
exactly.
everyone.
It's a real testament.
So we get back to Clary and Magnus and Luke, and we're still trying to help save him, and everyone's getting a couple things they need for this potion, and time is running out.
Yeah.
But we get to see a lot of flashbacks this episode.
Yeah.
Which I loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of flashbacks, and we basically got so much information this episode that we needed,
time.
and that Clary needed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, Clary, it's the first moment she's had to kind of breathe and not be running or almost dying or fighting for her life or for someone else's life, even though they're still kind of fighting for Luke's, but there's not much they can do until Jace and Simon get back. And I think it all kind of comes crashing down on her that I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I thought I was going to be in art school. I thought my life was set. I thought I knew where I was going. And then everything changed. So she needs some reassurance.
Someone
And she
explain.
needs some support. And there's, our lovely Magnus Bane to give her a little pep talk and fill her in on everything she's missed.
Well,
Yes.
what I really enjoyed about the flashbacks is that we got several of them,
Yeah.
and they were of the same story, kind of, but a different point of view.
So
Yes.
important.
I feel like they could totally make
Enjoyed that.
a whole other series about what happened before, because like it was
Yeah.
really weird. It was like we were looking in at a different show, because it was like, all these people had a different life back then, and they're like new characters.
Right.
Some like most of the same, but like as a younger character.
Yeah.
And it was just so crazy to see like what happened before the story that we all know and love.
Right. Well, there's so much going on. The Shadow World, there's so many relationships and so many convoluted stereotypes and things that are already established when our story begins. And several in the book, several chapters are actually dedicated just to these flashbacks, just so people understand how the world is set up and sort of the story that's happening behind the scenes. But something that I find very interesting about our show is that we have those parallels, that there's a sort of a generational gap that's happening, that you see a lot
Yeah.
of this episode between the Lightwood parents and the new Lightwoods and Clary and her mother and Luke, and there are all of these sort of established preconceived notions and stereotypes and old ways of doing things. The law is hard, but it's the law. That's the Shadowhunters' creed, basically, other than the descent into hell is easy, but that's another thing. And that's sort of, it sort of parallels our own society, because the younger generations are more open and are more willing to see things in a different way, and so are the younger Shadowhunters. So they're finding ways to solve old problems with new solutions, just because they have a different point of view.
Also, the actress who played younger Jocelyn was great
Yeah.
casting.
She's great,
I
right?
was like, okay, now I see like the resemblance.
Yeah.
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 Did you ever get to like meet any of them or like talk to them?
We did, because we would always have a day where we crossed over in the episodes or had reshoot days, and we had one soundstage that had a bunch of little set vignettes in it. So a lot of the scenes that were more intimate and smaller took place on that stage. So I would see them crossing when we had more than one unit shooting at once. I'd see them at lunch. I'd see them walking back and forth on set, and I'd go, "Wait a minute, are you my mother?"
Yeah.
Wait, you're my father. Right, got it. You're my father,
it.
but like we're the same age right now. Okay.
So weird.
Okay. No, but they were great, and they were so much fun, and really did. Everybody became a part of the family, which is nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it, and I love that we kind of, because I've been waiting for this to happen, to see Valentine.
Yeah.
I don't want to say
Before
be
everything
humanized, but to at the end of the day, it's still not right what he did, but you understand his thought process as to why he became what he became.
Well, it's very difficult, or it's very rare, but not impossible. For those of you who read the books, it's not impossible, but it's very rare for someone to be born purely evil. And so there had to be a tipping point where Valentine turned to the dark side, if you will, to make another Disney family reference. But and that explains it. And like you said, it humanizes him.
Well, there was something I actually wanted to ask you at the beginning that I didn't, like, at the beginning of the episode when Luke is dreaming / hallucinating and seeing Jocelyn, because Clary is communicating with Jocelyn mentally through her necklace.
Which we call the FaceTime necklace.
Yes.
The FaceTime necklace,
I want one.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, what's up?
How are you? Yeah.
Still in a coma? Okay, is Dad still being mean? Okay, bye.
Someone's gonna create this. And
That's so great.
I'm down.
Yeah, seriously.
But
be really convenient.
that scene, though, where Luke is connecting with Jocelyn, is he hallucinating because he's dying, or is he actually connecting with her kind of in a way Clary did?
I mean, that's something we kind of left open to interpretation and tried to make it either way. Isaiah would be able to speak to this more than I can, but from what I gathered from the conversation was that they did want to leave it open, but they wanted it to be possible that, maybe he was hallucinating and finally coming to the realization. But maybe the state that Jocelyn's in, she's still able to reach those to which she's most connected. And that's Luke and Clary and maybe Magnus. We don't know.
Ooh. See, that's what we were talking about like a little before. Yeah. And we're like, I don't know. We all had different opinions.
Yeah.
I really wanted it to be that he was connecting.
I think that's what they were leaning toward, but they still wanted to leave it open to interpretation.
Yeah, because I mean, he's obviously like in the process of dying right now, so I mean, he could be like hallucinating and like everything like that. But I mean, I was hoping I was like, I hope they're connecting in mentally some way. Right.
Well,
now.
I mean, they're both kind of in a state of spiritual and mental fluctuation, and there could be a way that they would meet in the middle somewhere on some otherworldly plane and be able to communicate for a moment.
That's what I was thinking, and I think that would be fun, and it's a cool tool to use, just like your necklace was such a cool tool to use, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Lightwood family.
Yes.
Okay, I love the Lightwood family. They're so fun.
Little Max. Oh my god.
Yes.
I was like, oh my god, he's so
Which
cute.
I thought was funny because
So
he didn't really look like the rest of the family.
No, I was like,
this
how
little
did this happen?
lighter head boy.
So cute.
It doesn't matter. He's adorable.
He is.
That's the whole point.
He
I'm
is.
like, how did this happen? Okay, never mind. He's cute.
It doesn't matter. He's adorable.
I love the brotherly bond between him and Alec. I thought that was really cool.
And him and Izzy.
Oh,
Well, yeah, that too. But
When she was helping him study the different roots.
yeah.
That was really cute.
What I think was so funny, so we were talking, Clary is going through all of this now that Shadowhunters have gone through when they were like Max's age.
Yeah.
And she messed up a ruin, was last episode, and he talks about messing up a ruin, and I was like, she's literally, kind of mentally, as far as being a Shadowhunter, she's growing fast, but it's only been a couple, not even probably a week thus far, and she's probably going through some of the same struggles that Max has.
Well, that's the thing, is Valentine and Jocelyn are two of the most skilled and most pure-blooded Shadowhunters that have ever existed. So Clary has good genes in that sense, as far as having a lot of Shadowhunter instincts and being able to learn quickly. But still, that's why she makes so many mistakes, and that's why she kind of doesn't always make the right decision, because she just doesn't know, and she's trying to learn.
Yeah.
you know.
It's so crazy. Like you think as someone who might just become a Shadowhunter, you know, you have time to adapt and everything, but no, you're having to make these life-changing decisions without even having any experience in that field.
Right,
it's
and
crazy.
not all of her decisions, not the consequences of all her decisions will not always end up on her. Sometimes they'll end up on others, and that comes into play in the next few episodes in a big way.
Well, sometimes that's even more painful than having a consequence be brought on yourself.
It is.
As opposed to somebody that you love.
It is. Well, and that's the thing. You know, this episode was the first time Clary said thank you to any of them for anything. And number one, because there wasn't time, and number two, she just had a chance. It all kind of hit her, and she realized, wait a minute, all of these people that I've just met have been risking their lives for me. Yeah. And the lives of all the people that they love. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know?
Constantly.
I was like, yes.
And within the next couple episodes, she'll have to learn to say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay, let's get back. I'm so fascinated with the Lightwood family, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
how awesome are Maris and Robert? Can we just talk about that for a minute?
Yeah. Fantastic.
I love them.
Yeah.
And I rarely have scenes with them, and it's so heartbreaking for me because I want nothing more than to spend time with Nicola and Paulino, but I never get to see them.
See, I was going to ask you that. I wanted you to have more scenes with them too because, well, the way Maris treats you when she first meets you. And do you know, I don't even know if you would know this, but like, did Jocelyn, your mother, have a relationship? What kind of a relationship did she have with the Lightwood family?
I can't say. They did know each other. They were of the same generation of Shadowhunters. But as to the details of the relationships between the Lightwoods and the Fairchilds and the Garraways,
we kind of have to wait and see.
Will we find out?
It's kind of rocky.
You will find out this season.
Okay.
You will find out this season. And it rocks a lot of people's worlds.
Wow.
So.
Well, I'm really excited for that, and I think that makes a lot of sense because I'm like, whoa, she didn't treat her very nicely, Clary. And there was definitely a lot of tension. And there was also tension this episode because basically Izzy finds out that they're planning to marry her and Alec off to help with the alliances and with the Clave.
Well, with Isabel, they're both about to be forced to change their lives completely. Alec is going to have to marry, and clearly that's not something that he's interested in and something that will ruin his life and his happiness. Mm-hmm. And he's given up his entire life to be a Shadowhunter. He at least deserves some happiness, you know. But then Isabel, who's been kind of the more free spirit of the family and more of the rebel of the family, is now being forced to grow up and to confront the consequences of her actions. She's kind of the first one that has to confront these consequences and go, wow, okay, I have to reevaluate my life and I have to make an adult step here and really change some things.
I don't think that she has been making bad choices necessarily.
No, she hasn't, but it's more about her past and her reputation than it is about the part of the story that we've seen so far.
She makes a very interesting point talking to her mom, saying, you're our mother and, I'm thinking about everything. I'm thinking about Alec and people's feelings and you're just thinking about the Clave and there's a good medium, I think, that's going to build.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the tragedy of being a Shadowhunter, especially when you're a leading family like the Lightwoods. They are in charge of the entirety of New York City, which is one of the demon epicenters of the Shadow World. And that sort of balance between mother and commander is a huge conflict. And she's only, she's half human, half angel, but she's only human. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's only so much she can do, but that's put that kind of motherly instinct onto Isabel a lot, which is a very interesting side of her that we haven't gotten to see a lot of.
I love that side of Izzy. And I love that she, she sticks up for everyone.
Yeah, she's got a big heart.
Very good at sticking up for everyone.
She guards it tightly, but she's got a big heart.
And the brother-sister relationship, Alec and Izzy, is one
and
of my
even
favorites.
Izzy and Jace. That's a brother-sister relationship that you'll see develop even more as the show continues.
And I love how, in the books, I know that the relationship between Clary and Izzy was kind of more of a catfighty type of thing a little bit.
Yeah.
And I love how in the show they're letting them be friends. And I was saying I like how Freeform is making it to where it's not girl against girl. Girls can be friends. They're not always against each other. Mm-hmm. I love how they're taking that route.
I was so happy about that. It's so refreshing to see two strong, independent young women who are good at what they do and who are smart and who care about people and love people be able to love each other as well in a way that's they're never pitted against, and that continues for the rest of the season.
That's good.
They're never pitted against each other. They're never put in competition definition, they're a team
They
from
can
the
relate
beginning.
to each other.
And I think that could be interesting as, hopefully if we have more seasons, as the seasons go, to see where that goes. And also, that's how we are off screen, too.
That's
so,
good, yeah.
Emerad's my big sister in every way, and that's great.
Yeah, you guys are very cute. I watch,
Yes.
Our silly little videos that we
Videos
make.
from the live tweeting.
Or
Yeah.
where she was trying to teach you how to speak Spanish.
Mhm.
That was great. You did a great job on that, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah, it's stressful.
It's a lot of fun, and I love too that you guys all seem close in real life.
Yeah.
We are. We make an extra effort to see each other whenever we can, just because we actually enjoy each other's company, and we know how special and rare that is.
Yeah.
And it only helps on screen.
Not all casts get along.
No, no, but ours does.
That's good.
Yeah, the chemistry is fantastic. You know on screen while watching.
No, it's nice.
You can watch a second and be like, okay, they get along.
Yeah.
It only helps when you're a team, especially on a show that's so intense like this.
Yeah.
And I absolutely feel like that chemistry on this kind of show, you can tell.
Yeah.
And it helps so much when watching these characters interact and develop their character relationships, but to also be like, yeah, you know what, these people actually seem like they like each other.
Well, and then on top of that, there's a level of trust that you can really let yourself go to these places and let yourself play and relax and kind of find where the scene takes you. That happened a lot. That happened a lot with everybody, but I've had a lot of scenes with Matt lately in the episodes, and I know that happened a lot because Matt's like my big brother. I adore him, and we had a lot of room to play and work things out, and the same with Alberto and with Dom and everybody. We have that freedom to play.
Well, speaking of Matt, Alec.
Yes.
I love this, as he tells him kind of what's happening, he's like, screw it, basically, and just leaves and does
He's
what...
like, nah.
It's the first time we see Alec rebel.
And I love it. I'm like, okay, thank goodness you don't always have to follow the rules. Hopefully he'll be happy.
Which is a big step for him. And
Yeah.
I think
Bakers are great.
Well,
sometimes.
yeah, and I think one thing that gave him the ability to do that is the support that he's had, not only from Magnus showing interest, and not only from Isabel, but from Clary too, confronting him and being like, why is this such a big deal that you might have feelings for Jace or Magnus or whoever you have feelings for? It doesn't matter. Have feelings for who you have feelings for and follow your heart.
Yeah.
Clary comes from a different world, and
Yeah.
she opens their eyes and they open her eyes to different things, and it's such an interesting conglomeration.
Yes.
I love that, and I love, that he came because Magnus asked for him very unnecessarily, probably.
Yeah, but we all love a little Malik in our lives, right?
Everyone loves Malik.
Fans are just...
the fans are obsessed with Malik.
I'm a Malik shipper,
so
I have
cute.
to say.
They do so
yeah,
much
that was
together.
a question. That was one of the many questions people asked. So she is, yes, she
A Malik
is a Malik
shipper, 100%.
And so Alec comes and brings, his power, and basically is I keep almost calling him Magnus, because I knew this guy named Magnus. Magnus.
Yeah.
Magnus.
I love it.
Is basically looking as though his magic is almost he's gonna pass out, and it also a light bulb. I'm like, why is he doing this? I still don't understand. It's so kind and amazing. But Alec comes and gives him his power to help, and Luke's okay.
Yeah.
Because they have everything that they need. And then Alec, like you said, and Clary had a pretty cool moment for the first time where it seemed like Alec and he smiled when he looked at her.
Yeah.
That's the only time I've seen that.
I know, there was barely a smirk, barely a smile, but it happened.
Yes.
I want them to become buddies.
Yeah, that could happen. Stranger things have happened.
Yes, that's
but
true.
That's the thing. Alec is such a protector, and he has his flock that he watches over. And Clary was the outsider, but now Clary's starting to prove herself, and he's starting to recognize that, which is very gratifying for Clary, and it gives her the confidence. They're kind of giving each other the confidence to step out of their comfort zones, and it's a very neat relationship. That's you don't really get a ton of in the books, but our series is exploring it in a cool way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like he's definitely, by being kind of edgy towards Clary, he's definitely helping her grow and
Yeah, for sure.
and have more confidence in himself in a strange way.
They push each other's buttons,
Yeah.
but in the right way.
Yeah.
Well, I could also see Alec being a little proud, like I'm helping create this.
Right. He's doing something, he's making his own choices for the first time in his life, and they're paying off in a good way. Mm-hmm. And so it's the first time where he goes, well, maybe I actually can be a leader.
Yeah, he
Maybe
gets to
there's
be in
another
charge.
way. Maybe the law isn't as black and white as he thinks it is.
Cool. I know, it's very exciting, and we have the Alec and Magnus scene that everyone's been waiting for.
She's all excited.
I do. Alec gives me butterflies. I love it.
So
It's really sweet. It's just so funny because we are 6 episodes in, and we have not seen one kiss. But there is so much love. There's so much love going on.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I feel like, I mean, I like when characters kiss on shows, but just like the relationship, development is
the tension is sometimes more exciting than the actual payoff. Yeah. But also on our show, with all of the life and death events that have been happening, if people were making out on the side, unless it's like Izzy and Meliorn, when that was necessary. It was like a tool. It was a weapon in a sense. But it's coming.
I hope so. We made a prediction.
Hang on just a little longer.
We made a prediction a long time ago. We're like, we think it'll be episode 5, and here we are, episode 6, no kiss still.
Not yet.
Episode
Not
7
yet.
or 8.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I
never
mean,
know.
We're not going to get into predictions yet, but seeing scenes from next week, I was like, oh no.
No, that promo.
That does not look like a kiss.
I mean, a kiss of death?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Not the same thing, but
You know, it's something else.
Yeah.
It's a connection of sorts.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, and I think the show's doing it very well because I'm not that frustrated.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. We thought it was the right timing when we were shooting it, so it's nice to see it all kind of pay off.
Because you see the chemistry.
The chemistry is clearly there. It's clearly there. There's just more important things, which just shows to the character of these people.
And if everyone was just sitting around making out, like, I would be concerned. I'd be like, all right, guys, we have bigger things to worry about right now.
People are dying. Can you
Can you save the world?
Breathe a minute and go save the world and kiss later? Yeah.
So, I mean, it is more realistic, which I like.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Absolutely. And, we're going to get into Jace and Clary a little bit because this is the first episode that they haven't really been together for a huge chunk of it. But when they are, it's super intense. But I want to talk about these flashbacks a little bit more because, like we said, we get 2 versions.
And then you get to see Luke and Clary's relationship really for the first time. Mm-hmm. It's the first time they're alone together.
Yeah.
When they're not fighting and, she's trying to stab him with her stele. But that's another story. Or being firemen's carried out of a metal shipping container. But that's another story altogether.
Well, it's just funny because now Luke is like at Hotel Magnus, like just set up in that beautiful red bed. Oh, God. Yeah, and it's hilarious.
We spent 2 days shooting that scene.
Oh, wow.
2 days, Isaiah and I,
oh my goodness,
in that room, in that bed.
I did, like dying.
It was an 8-page scene, really, because we shot even the voiceover parts. We shot everything so that they would have options, and it took a while for us to find. We wanted to shoot this option and that option and this tone and that tone, and just to kind of make sure we had everything that we needed. Because I forget whether or not they had already shot the flashbacks at that time or whether they hadn't, but I don't recall at this point. But it's nice to see that trust and respect that they have for each other because Clary really does sass back at him quite a bit.
Very true.
It's interesting that scenes take like so long to film, and you're like watching them on TV, and you're like, oh, this is like a 5-minute scene.
Oh my gosh. We spent, I was on a commercial once. We spent 2 or 3 days filming for like a 15 to 30 second clip. And it's crazy, like, how much you have to shoot. It's crazy.
The fight scene in episode 1 in Pandemonium, we shot it in a bunch of pieces, but I think we were shooting on that scene for like 4 days.
That is crazy.
I love all those scenes too, the fight scenes, and
they're fun.
It is. It's pretty amazing. And Luke does a great job at those scenes too, especially seeing last week and what he did and why he is where he is now. I mean, thank God he's been saved. And like we said, it's great to see their relationship grow. And he says that back in the day, him and Jocelyn, they fell in love, that he blames Valentine's craziness on them.
Yeah.
Which, and you say that's not you. After you hear what happened, you're like, that wasn't your fault.
No,
and it wasn't.
No, but when you're in a situation like that, you have guilt for reasons that you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And so that guilt has stayed with him, and probably with Jocelyn too, which is why they've both fought so hard to protect Clary and to try and protect the cup and the world and everything, all of that.
And I loved the flashback where that we saw twice, where Jocelyn grabs the cup. You're like, come on.
Yes.
I liked when she jumped off the building. That was
So badass.
I know.
So
yes.
Yes.
And we saw it twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
After I saw that, I was like, guys, can I do that in an episode?
you jump
Can
off
I
buildings?
jump off a building,
Yes,
please?
seriously.
Not this season. Not this season, Kat.
No.
But the way she lands is just epic.
Yes.
It's a cross between like Iron Man and I
Yeah.
don't know, something else amazing.
Well, I don't know if you know or you can answer this question, but Luke says they fell in love and they blame that on him. And then it's funny. Clary's like, "Are you my no?"
Are you? Did
Oh my
they?
gosh.
Did
I'm like,
you?
Clary, have you looked in the mirror?
I know. There was a minute where I looked at the writers and I went,
No.
no? And they're like, no, just do it. And we're like, all right, it's
All
funny,
right,
why
cool,
not?
whatever.
Sure. Comedy. Levity.
That's
We
right.
need that in
Comic
this
relief,
episode.
Yes. Oh, that's great. I
Yeah.
know whenever he said it, I was like,
Seinfeld.
I don't think he's your dad. Pretty sure.
Pretty sure. But no, I mean, he is basically her father in every other way.
Yeah, and every other one. Which
Yeah.
is
Very true.
adorable.
And we find out that he blames himself. You know, you're blaming yourself for lots of different things, but he now knows from whether it was a hallucination or an image communicating with Jocelyn, he needs to tell you everything that you are the key to finding the cup. I want to talk a little bit about your drawing and what exactly you're doing, and
It's like so effortless.
it is.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's been Clary's love her whole life, and that's something that, you know, throughout the course, people who know the books, throughout the course of Clary's journey, really comes into play and becomes her special talent and becomes what she brings that is unique to the Shadow World, and that's what makes her so powerful. But in this moment, it's kind of her security blanket. You know, she's learning all of these things, all of these dark secrets, all of these disturbing facts about her past and about her. I mean, she basically has found out that her father, very recently, that her father is one of the most evil beings to ever exist, ever.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of weight.
Yeah,
She thought her
that's
father was a hero. She thought her father, you know, died in some heroic something, and now she's finding out
Facing
that her
reality.
worst fears are actually true.
Yeah.
And be careful what you wish for. But that drawing in this episode it's very much almost a nervous tick of just a security blanket, and it's a release for her because she hasn't been able to draw this entire time. She hasn't been able to use that skill. But ultimately, in the end, she finds out that not only can she draw things, but she can do other things with art
basically
as
a
well.
magician.
Yes.
Basically.
Which is what we saw with like what are those things? Those
The
the
biscotti.
biscotti.
The biscotti. You know,
Biscotti.
like that like leads us back to that. And so
You're like, oh, now it
as
makes sense.
soon as Clary realizes that, I was like, yes, that's gonna help you. Because I mean, we all kind of know from like if you watched the movie like about the whole like the cup was in the card type of thing. I don't know if they'll really go for that. Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things where like maybe she's finally realizing exactly where the cup might be.
Well, according to the last line, Clary
Cliffhanger.
knows where the cup is.
That's right. That's
I was
right.
like, wait, I want to know more. Where is it?
And I wanted to see her run and grab it right now.
Yeah,
you
when
know?
I read the episode, I was like,
But where?
where is the cup?
Yeah.
'Cause she knows, but I don't. Where is the cup?
Where's the cup?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Help me, please.
It's an amazing end to an awesome episode.
Well, and she finds out she has a brother.
yes,
That's another
yes.
big thing.
Before
We can't not talk about the brother.
we cannot not talk about the brother because, okay, the books, not to give anything away to people that have not read it, but there is, you know, a brother,
A related
sister,
storyline.
a kind of related, and I am hoping that it doesn't go in that direction on the show. And after seeing this, I'm like, okay, I don't think so. I think we're good. But we find out that JC stands for Jonathan Clark.
Jonathan Christopher.
Jonathan Christopher, who is, Luke says, you know, he doesn't want to tell her at first.
No,
but
he
that's
doesn't.
your brother, and Valentine killed him.
Because ultimately, Luke was Valentine's parabatai. And as we've seen from Jace and Alec, that bond is stronger than anything. So for them to, even now, even as horrible as Valentine has become, Luke still knows him as that pure, vigilant, passionate Shadowhunter that he once was, who ultimately wanted to do good. And it's very hard for him to betray that, even after everything that's happened. So it's a dark secret, and basically Valentine killed his own child. So it's an awful situation that nobody wants to hear.
No.
Well, it's an
On top
awesome
of
way.
everything that's going on.
On top of everything,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, you have a brother, he's now dead, and your father killed him,
Yeah. You're like, well. that puts
along
a
with your
damper on things.
grandparents. So
Yeah.
that's just all of your other living family is dead because
Yeah.
of your father. Just so you know.
Which, speaking of the parabatai thing,
Yeah.
we asked Dominic last week, who's your parabatai?
On set, my parabatai is Emerald.
Yes.
Hands down. Hands down.
I can tell.
Let me guess. Dom said Alberto or Matt.
Dom.
Well, actually, he was saying one of his
someone-
best friend in real life.
Okay. Yeah. In real life, my best friend is my parabatai, obviously, but on set, it's Emerald.
That's
Very nice.
Well, I think that we, unfortunately, are going to be running a little bit out of time. So
Okay.
in that lieu, we had a great scenes from next week. We're going to cut predictions this week. Let's get in.
Yes.
Well, because we have
questions.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
let's do a
last
few
week
fan
they were
questions,
so
but I
sad
want
that
to
we
hear your
didn't.
predictions.
Okay.
I want to
Okay.
hear your predictions,
All
but
right.
we'll do fan questions and then quickly.
Definitely.
All
We'll
right.
definitely try to fit both in.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have, let's see, Andrea McKinnon. What was the most difficult challenge while filming Shadowhunters?
Not tripping. I was running, I mean, aside from the emotional stuff and the physicality of it and all of the training and everything, but Emerald and I were both running in heels for the entire season. And I kid you not, I'm a huge klutz in real life, and I'm really
yeah,
good
sure.
in heels. But when you're running and you're in the woods or in a graveyard or there's uneven ground or cables or things like this, you trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just trip. And the funniest moments, I mean, there are plenty where I fall on my butt. Or in episode 2, you saw it in Behind the Shadows. I'm running and I slid and just smacked into the van.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, there's that. But the funnier moments are when I'm just walking, trying to look like a badass, and then all of a sudden my ankle will wobble a little
You
bit.
wobble.
And I'll
You're like,
just
"Ah."
Catch
I'll do one
yourself.
of these. What's even funnier is when we're trying to do
Trying
a
to play it cool.
scene and there's a time crunch and I'm walking and I do one of those and you just hear Dom go in the background.
And you're like, thanks, Dom.
Thanks, Dom. Now we have to go again. I have to try and not trip again.
Yes.
No, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yes. And then we have Atler Maniac Fandom, which says, which Shadowhunter ruin would you like if you had to get a tattoo of? Which one
Yeah.
would you get?
I
The
think you should
angelic
get
rune.
one.
The Angelic Rune?
Yeah.
Good one. I like that
Yeah.
one.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of that one.
Just because of what it stands for and what it means.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
We have Alicia who asked if you could take home one thing from set, what would it be?
Ooh. Other than, Clary's stele or anything like that, I'd love to take home some of Clary's boots. I love her shoes. Even though I trip in them, they're so great. We had an amazing wardrobe on the show.
And then at Lenny's Loves says, if you could be any other species on the show, what would it be?
A warlock.
Warlock.
Me
Ooh.
too. That's
Yes.
mine for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
I think those are
Yeah.
coolest.
I was thinking about that
I would
today.
want to do that.
I mean, I love food too much to be a vampire, to be honest.
Yeah, I couldn't do the whole
I
book
couldn't
thing.
switch over the
Nope.
whole book.
No,
thing.
and random wolf transformations are really
Yeah,
not
not
my
fair.
Not your
thing.
thing. You could run a perfectly good outfit, just like transition
It's
over
so
that.
true. And then Shadowhunters have to fight all the time, and it's just
Like swords going
exhausting.
on.
Yeah, it's just warlock. You can help
I
people, you can
agree.
heal people, and you're covered in glitter.
That's true.
Is that
Glitter
really
is
such a
the
bad life?
best.
I don't think so.
I have
Someone
obsessed with
else
glitter.
asked, what is your favorite memory that happened behind the scenes?
There's so many. A lot of the times that we spent together, we're just sitting together and hanging out and getting to know each other was really great. One of my favorite memories is the first night I got to Toronto. I was one of the last cast members to arrive, and I showed up to the hotel after like a 3-hour wardrobe fitting, and the entire cast was sitting in the lobby waiting for me. I was like, you guys! And then they swept me off and took me to dinner, and we just spent all night chatting and getting to know each other, and that was only the beginning of all of us really bonding as a
Really
cast.
great bond.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Really good chemistry.
We have
Sarah, do you have any advice for Clary? Season 2 happens, assuming it happens
Yeah.
going into season 2.
Advice to Clary: listen to the people that know more than you know.
Yes. I'm so glad you're
Listen.
saying that
Listen.
about your own
Listen,
character.
Clary.
Because,
Listen and take a breath before you take action.
yes.
You're a smart girl, Clary, but you're very reckless at times.
Yes.
She
Yeah.
is. She's very reckless, but
Smarter than that.
Not as reckless as Jace, but she's still reckless.
That's
Jace
true.
loves her.
She's doing great compared to how I'd be doing if I got thrown into this.
I'd be a hot mess.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, no, I don't think I'm meant for this job.
Yeah.
Bye.
But that's the thing is that she is meant for this. This is her destiny. This is what she is supposed to do.
Yeah.
It is, and I'm excited to see her continue to
Yeah.
form that.
Yeah.
Let's get into like a couple quick predictions.
Okay.
We
Your
have some time.
AfterBuzz TV
Whoa.
predictions.
All right. So you guys saw the promo.
Yes.
Yes.
Thoughts?
That promo with Simon in the teeth, I was like, okay, so it's happening.
There's a lot in that promo.
Oh,
Clary's
no,
in bed
there's a
with
lot.
Simon.
And I was
Simon's
really
got
confused.
teeth. Clary's
Like,
got
wait a minute.
Jace.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
Like, okay, wait, is this the same show?
I think my biggest prediction is I probably think that it's time for Simon and Clary to really sit down and have a conversation about what their relationship is and what will it become in the future. And like that way they can set boundaries and lines, because I think for Simon he could really use that to know, whether or not it's going to, progress or if it's just going to be a friend thing.
Yeah, well, for the first time in this episode, every time Simon and Clary have hugged up until episode 6, it's been this almost gripping embrace. And this last episode, she had that moment with Jace, and then she runs by Simon, and she's like, all right, see you later, mate. Gotta go.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a little change there.
Yeah.
There's a little change.
Friend zoned again.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think that the scene we see in the promos where Simon is like, and Clary says to him, when are you going to ask me to be your girlfriend? Something, and he's hallucinating. It's a dream. That's not real, I don't think. But when we see Clary have Jace, that seems kind of real to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why or she would do that. I was hoping to get a makeout next week, but it looks like
not.
What?
Don't cross Clary. I'll put it that way.
That was one of that was the main thing in that promo that confused me. I was like,
No, I think at this point we're gonna have to push off the first kiss to episode 10 or 11 at this point.
Season 2.
that's happening.
Yeah, because once somebody stabs somebody else, that kind of puts a damper on the relationship. But I was actually surprised they showed that moment in the trailer, because that's kind of a big thing that happens in this episode. But
Ooh, I can't
wait. Yes.
But like I said, all things are not as they seem in the shadow world.
That is true.
Nothing is simple.
Yes.
Also, quick shout out to Erin, who's not here, Erin Lane.
Yes,
we miss
co-host.
you.
I would have met you.
Yes, she's awesome.
Yeah, well,
she's fantastic.
She's amazing, but so is Kat, because it's Dakota's birthday today.
Yes.
And Kat brought Dakota
She brought me these amazing cupcakes. Very
Shout out to Yummy
so
Cupcakes
sweet.
in Burbank.
Yes, I've never tried it before, and we're getting ready to try them right after this.
Yeah, we can't light a candle here in the studio, but we are in our hearts, so...
Get some fire magic going.
Happy birthday, Dakota.
Also,
and
Thank
quickly,
you.
yes,
Quickly.
very quickly,
We want to update
There we
you.
go.
here is our updated Love Octagon board, and Kat is going to sign it just like Dom did last week.
Yes.
We think we've had it, we have it figured out. We still have Maureen kind of hanging out on the outside.
Kat mentioned we should kind of put her right here, a little bit
Maureen.
outside the circle, just because.
She should be singing Adele,
She's definitely
should be
there.
singing Adele.
She's an important
probably is right now.
presence in the shadow world, but she's slightly removed at this point still. But
Do you
still
think
between
we'll see more of
Sam and
her?
Clary. I think so.
Okay,
There were a few scenes that were in earlier scripts that were actually cut where Clary and Maureen sort of confronted each other about things, which I thought would have been interesting.
Yeah,
but
that'd
we
be
didn't have time to do it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But their relationship is very interesting.
Oh God, I hope he doesn't kill her. Oh Jesus.
Oh, that would be awful.
That'd be a great relationship.
Maureen's just
Talk
like,
about a
hello,
love story.
It's me, Maureen.
Yeah.
I'm just here.
And then we
I'm a
have
human.
Singing
constant
Adele.
love triangle at this
Yeah.
point between
Absolutely.
Clary and Jason Simon.
So much fun, and we have a bunch more episodes left, which is amazing. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You are super awesome fans. Kat is awesome. We're so
Yes.
happy
Spies.
that you got to come here. Becca, will you let us know where we can find you on the interweb?
Yes. You can find me on Becca B Talks TV on Instagram and Twitter.
And you can find me at Mr. Dakota T. Jones on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
I'm Kat_MacNamara on Twitter, KitKatsMe on Instagram, and Kat.MacNamara on Snapchat.
And you guys can find me, Sam Davidson, online at samdavidsonentertainment.com and on Twitter and Instagram at samd43. We will see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Afterbuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the Afterbuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterbuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of Afterbuzz TV.
Bye. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.